Okay, this is part 5. Fast forward, it was tense in the house, like I said, and the tension just kept growing over the months, right? But anytime that anytime that I would raise it to him and try and let him know that I felt uncomfortable about it, can it just be addressed? He would just brush it off and say that, no, don't worry about it. You're here for me. You're not here for them and whatever. But to me, I would try and tell him that, listen, this is making me feel like uncomfortable. So like I said, whenever I would go there, greet everyone and maybe like sit with them for like 5-10 minutes, and then I would go to the room, right? And then, because I'm not a very social person, I'm an introvert. Like when situations are like tense, I literally don't know how to like react to them sometimes. So I started like spending less and less time with them, even though initially I had hoped that I'd found family and like that I'd found sisters and so on and so forth, right? But the situation that could have been easily like fixed and remedied was just allowed to just continually snowball. So fast forward, like I said, his mom kept mentioning that she wanted a grandchild and she would be happy with the grandchild and whatnot. And he kept mentioning the child issue, the baby issue, right? So eventually I made up my mind, right? And I was like, okay, since while he's already talking about saving for Lobola and so on and so forth, let's start trying. Why not start trying? Okay. But let me tell you, I still felt uncomfortable with it. I still felt anxious about it because, like I said, I was someone that wanted to travel. I've always loved traveling. I still wanted to put things into order in my life, right? So then, okay, the pressure kept mounting, and then we started planning for a baby, right? Cool. And then it got to a point where I started like getting like, when I would go to the bathtub in the morning at his place, I would find this like sand, like, I still don't know how to explain that thing. It was like sand. It would be like sand, but it would be like only under my soap container, right? And like under my soap. And my soap container had like those little holes at the bottom. So I don't know, there was a day that the Holy Spirit was just like, pick up this thing. I picked it up and like I was trying to, I wanted to also wash the sides of the tub, right? When I picked it up, I saw this like sand-like thing, but you could see that it was just not just like normal sand. It was like sand that was just under my soap container, right? And I checked his soap container because at the time that was his bathroom, right? That he like kind of shared with his sister, but not that much. But it was mainly his like bathroom. So when I picked it up, I saw this like sand-like thing, and I was just like, I became so like Nashal Valo. My heart started beating like very fast, and I could like feel the darkness that was coming from that thing. So I just prayed, and I just like didn't entertain it too much. I prayed and I like washed it away, and yeah, because at the time I didn't know much about spiritual things, right? Because growing up, like, we weren't really taught that much about spiritual things. It was just a thing of like going to school, being taught about Jesus and all of that, but we were not taught about spiritual things and spiritual warfare and all of that, right? So I just washed it by hand, and I continued. I told him though that, listen, I found this sand like under my soap box and whatnot. So he seemed surprised. When I showed this to him. because I showed it to him before I washed it, right? He seemed surprised. So, but then I thought, initially I thought that maybe someone was doing laundry, because at the time I was washing with the green sunlight bar, right? Because it treated my skin better at the time. So I just thought that maybe someone was doing laundry and maybe they saw a green sunlight bar and decided to like also use my soap for the laundry. But then at the same time, it came back to me that this is town. Like, nobody really washes their clothes outside here. It's town. Like, so it was strange, right? So I mentioned it to a friend and she was also like, oh, that's like strange. But yeah, maybe somebody was doing laundry. Cool. So I let it go, right? Then it kept happening. Like, it happened multiple times. Like, I lost count of the amount of times that happened. That I would go, but it wasn't every single day. It was like on random days, like when I would chill and think that it's not going to happen again, it would happen. So I found this like multiple times, like over a few months. When I would go there and bath, I would find the sand only under my soap box, right? So it happened so much that there was a day that I showed it to him again, and he decided to like go and like, what seemed to me like it seemed like he was going to ask his mom about it, right? We went there, we asked her, like, Senti keeps finding soap under her soap box, sand under her soap box, or what looks like sand under her soap box. And then she was like, the way her body language and the way she reacted, something in my spirit just told me that something is off here. But then once again, I was like, no man, these people, like, they live in town. There's no way that anything strange could be going on here. And yeah, so I don't know, I brushed it off, I guess. But I started praying and I started telling a friend about it. And this friend was like, no, man, something is just a bit off about that thing. And mind you, that friend of mine was prophetic. So she could just also sense that something was off about it. But so she was just like, no, just pray, like, just pray, right? And then it continued happening. And then at some point she was like, no, just take like maybe like bit of J's fluid and like bath in it or something. And yeah, I tried that. And then when I tried that, then they started complaining that there was something that smells like J's fluid. So they basically said that you can't use like J's fluid in the house. So at the time I was just like, okay, it's their house, so I have to respect that. So I respected it and I like didn't use it anymore. But like I would pray. But like I would see that he's just chilled, like he was chilled. So I assumed that, no man, I don't know. I didn't know what to assume. I didn't know what to think. So things just continued, right? After a few months of trying, I felt pregnant. I found out that I was pregnant and he was happy. His mom also seemed extremely happy. And everyone seemed happy about it, right? So I was also happy. I was also like chilled and calm. And it seemed like life was moving forward. And then things started to change, right? So the whole thing of me like not cooking and whatnot intensified. That it became bad, and I was always too scared to like address it because I was just like, it's not my house, and nobody was addressing it, but I was being ill treated, and you could see like you're kind of like that people are angry, but you don't understand. They don't want to address why they're angry, right? I'm going to continue in part 5.